Abso-fucking-lutely.
Every day in San Francisco, 2 more men hear the grim news. You have AIDS, there's no cure. Since doctors in France and America isolated the virus in 1983, research has proceeded at a frantic pace. The method used by the virus to destroy the body's immune system has been discovered.
Welcome to Empowered Talks. This is Romo Miklat, and today I am inviting you to another conversation that you need to hear. In fact, we need your help to share this because I am with Danvic Rosadiño of Love Yourself PH, and we are here not just to celebrate but also educate everyone of what the organization is all about and what it stands for. Love Yourself PH is a community-based organization in Manila, Philippines, and it promotes self-worth leading to self-care among the men who have sex with men, or MSM, and the youth, but the organization is mostly known to provide HIV and sexual health-related services to the community. Danvic Rosadiño is the Director of Operations of Love Yourself PH. He spearheaded various HIV and sexual health researches, programs, and innovations such as Project PrEPI or PrEP Pilipinas, a program that introduced the HIV pre-exposure prophylaxis in the Philippines. Another is the self-care or the introduction of HIV unassisted self-testing in the Philippines, and he also conducted several researches on HIV spread and incidents among men who have sex with men in various clinics in Manila, Philippines, and Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Welcome to the show, Danvic!
Hi, Roma, and thank you so much for inviting us. And I hope everyone who is listening and watching us right now is having a great day.
First of all, I wish to congratulate everyone in your organization on your 10th anniversary. Grabe, isang dekada na. Wow, like that is I would say a very selfless work. I mean, it's a decade worth of selfless work in how definitely you've changed a lot of lives of a lot of people. Pero kanina, di ba, in-introduce kita, I basically just read the introduction of what Love Yourself PH is all about. Pero I want to hear it coming from you. How will you describe your organization to other people at para kanino ang Love Yourself PH?
We're so happy na we didn't expect actually that we will be lasting 10 years. In fact, Love Yourself, yun nga, it just started in 2011 with just 6 people. At itong 6 na taon na lang to, they just wanted to help the community. They just wanted to help their friends. Before kasi, the picture of the epidemic, the HIV epidemic before, 2011, it's real, while there are services available, parang it's not configured na it's na parang friendly siya. Siguro if we will be comparing back the picture, before kasi it was fear tactics, meaning if may HIV ka, mamatay ka. Or if may HIV ka, may sakit ka. And you know, these 6 people who wanted to just to help their friends because basically wala silang access na services na talagang akma for us men who have sex with men, and that's MSMs. I think gagamitin natin yung term na yun later. So these 6 friends, they just wanted to help at nagsimula ang Love Yourself in just, you know, creating these HIV testing events. And from that organization na nagsimula lang sa event-event lang. Ngayon, we are widely known in the Philippines and in the region, in the Southeast Asian region, to provide HIV-related services. HIV-related services meaning that's HIV awareness, testing, initiatives so that you can protect yourself, pati treatment, care, and support para sa ating mga kapatid na may na may HIV. So, we are mostly known to provide that, but Love Yourself is more than that. Pangalan pa lang Love Yourself. We wanted in this organization na we wanted to promote self-worth o yung pagpapahalaga sa sarili. And the best way for you to know aside from taking care of yourself, we wanted to, to share to other people na kailangan mong alagaan ang sarili mo. And the first thing for that is for you to, to dare yourself na kilalanin mo ang sarili mo. Because if you know kung sino ka, you know how to take care of yourself better. And if you know how to take care of yourself better, that's a time that you can share it to other people as means of multiplying joy and happiness. So from that organization that started in just HIV awareness, right now we are foraying into people taking care of themselves, but more on sexual health, mental health, and other wellness activities that really, focuses on taking care of yourself.
I love that. I love when you said specifically na you have to take care of yourself para rin you can be a blessing to others and you can help others who also need help, 'di ba? Kasi sa totoo lang, 'di ba? Danvic, ang daming ganyan. Uso ngayon yan, self-care, self-worth and all. Pero why is it like the louder the campaign goes, parang ang hirap pa rin i-apply sa sarili mong buhay. No? Ang hirap. Totoo yan. And I just love that I found out about your organization. And parang you covered it all basically. Not just HIV, not just trans health, but also mental health. And you're promoting self-love, not just kasi self-love naman is genderless 'di ba?
Totoo naman. It's really, sabi ko nga, laging mantra namin in our organization, yun nga, yung sinabi ko kanina, dare, care, share principle. If hindi mo don't know or hindi mo tanggap yung sarili mo, it's not a simple process, di ba? And sabi mo nga kanina, it's really genderless. Kahit sino ka pa, you need to take care of yourself. And you need to know who you are. So, regardless of your gender, you need to take care of yourself. And if you know how to take care of yourself naman, tulungan din natin yung ibang tao para mahalin at alagaan din nila yung kanilang sarili.
And also, I would like to congratulate yung 6 na taong nag-umpisa nito. Siguro hindi rin nila na-imagine na, wow, it will be this big and it will last. Sabi mo ka, hindi nyo na-imagine na it will last for 10 years, diba? But now, Danvic, I'm curious to know, can you share a story that you will never forget when you became part of Love Yourself PH that somehow it had an impact on you?
Well, I actually started volunteering for Love Yourself in 2014. Kung siguro 3 years in existence na si Love Yourself. And before yun nga, testing events pa lang din ang ginagawa namin nun. So, actually, it's very cliche yung pagsali ko. It's really just to help the community. Way back then, I've been in college days, I've been volunteering in various organizations. And before back then, wala akong friends I can share my own story, who can really relate kung ano yung napagdadaanan ko as a gay person. So, when I needed to have an HIV test, nakita ko yung isang event ng Love Yourself and I joined there as a client pa lang ni Love Yourself. At doon ko nakita na parang, ang sasaya naman ng mga baklang to. Parang, bakit parang ang saya-saya nila tumutulong sa community and libre ang lahat ng services. Pero parang, alam niyo, very welcoming environment. And I think that's one value din na pinapahalaga ni Love Yourself. In our sense of community, we always espouse a safe space na, a safe space for us to be who we are. At kapag kilala mo and you can, you really know yourself, you could release what you can do, your own potentials, and you can help others as well. So that yung safe space na create namin. When I started to join Love Yourself in 2014. Before, I didn't expect, ano bang nagagawa talaga ni Love Yourself, ganyan. But I cannot forget one time na I became a HIV counselor na. So, I've been facilitating HIV tests. there was this one time a college student na I was volunteering na in Love Yourself, and then it was his first time na magpa-test for HIV. And then as simple lang as nalaman niya yung result niya, basically nakita niya na okay, HIV negative siya. After nun, hindi niya napigilan na umiyak siya, as in sobrang umiyak siya. As parang sabi ko, HIV negative po kayo. Kinaklarify ko lang. Baka po kasi
akala niya positive yung oo.
Kasi na-expect mo as baguhan na HIV counselor, parang, ay, iiyak to pag positive, pero hindi negative siya, pero umiyak siya, todo umiyak siya. At parang pinayaan ko lang siya na ma-process emotion siya. Tapos tinanong ko kung bakit siya umiyak. Ang sinabi niya, never in his life na na-express niya yung ganong emotions, yung ganong feelings, at yung kung meron siya nasabihan kung ano yung mga pinaggagawa niya in the past few years. At lalo na't kinimkim niya lahat sa sarili niya na, ay, baka feeling ko may HIV ako, feeling ko, I cannot help, baka meron na ako ito, mamatay na ako. Yun yung kanya mindset before. So, totally nagbago yung mindset niya nung tinulungan ko siya, nung malaman ko lang status niya. At the same time, nasabi niya lahat ng nararamdaman niya, lahat ng nasa loobin niya para, na basically naipon in the past because wala siyang masabihan. So, Love Yourself became his safe space. At ngayon, volunteer siya sa Love Yourself. And he's also creating his own ripples of positive change sa organization. And those stories are just one of the million stories na nakuha namin in organization. At ko na-realize na even though we are just volunteering, we can really make a difference.
Oo, siguro sobrang takot niya, no? I mean, the fact that you cannot express yourself as a gay person, that's one, to your loved ones. Tapos, magkaroon ka pa ng possibility that you are an HIV patient. I cannot imagine. Actually, it's not right for me to say that I can just imagine. And no, I cannot imagine the fear that he has to go through every day, like, waking up, parang positive ba ako? Baka may sakit na ako, baka may taning na yung buhay ko, or, And that's amazing that you're sharing that. And I want to go there. Let's stay on that lane, Danvic, because, of course, we wanted your 10th anniversary of Love Yourself to be more meaningful here on Empower Talks. Danvic, I need your help para naman maunawaan namin as audience, as, people sa society natin. We want to understand what HIV is, because like yun kanina, 'di ba? That's always the first step to understanding parang lahat tayo natatakot if we don't understand something Same with COVID, 'di ba? Nung hindi natin siya alam, takot na takot tayo, we don't go out, 'di ba? Nabago yung lifestyle natin because we don't know anything yet. But now, HIV has been existing for many years. Pero ang problema, hindi pa rin siya, the knowledge is not yet shared to a lot of people. Kumbaga kulang pa yung mileage para maintindihan tong HIV na ito. To a point na since hindi mo naiintindihan, ang nangyayari, you alienate people. Kaya hindi ulit din sila nag-open up because they don't wanna be, parang ayaw naman nilang katakutan sila at iwasan sila ng diba, society. Ayaw naman natin yon. So now, can you help us, siguro kahit brief discussion lang on the things that we need to understand about HIV? For example, the first question ko, ang HIV ba and AIDS, are they the same?
That's a very good question. Lagi ko yan natatanggap every time. Bibigyan ako ng education regarding HIV. It's very important to note na kailangan muna natin malaman what HIV is.
Yes.
HIV is Human Immunodeficiency Virus. Meaning, isa siyang virus or katulad nga ni COVID, isa siyang mikrobyo na it doesn't exist sa ating mga sarili. Nakukuha natin siya in external environment, meaning wala siya sa ating katawan. So, at ang ginagawa ng virus na to, pag pumunta siya sa ating katawan, it causes immunodeficiency. Or ibig sabihin, pinapahina niya yung ating immune system. Our immune system, yan yung lumalaban sa iba't ibang klase ng sakit at infections. So, ibig sabihin, if mahina ang iyong immune system, mas prone ka na magkasakit. If malakas ang iyong immune system, you are basically healthy. Kaya labanan yan yung mga everyday infections na nakikita natin. Human, ibig sabihin, of course, tao. So, tao sa tao lang. Hindi siya makukuha sa lamok, bubuyog or any other means of animal. It means human to human lang ang transmission. Since natatransmit siya tao sa tao, it can only be passed to 3 ways. Yan. So, naipapasa lang siya sa 3 paraan, which I'll explain later. So, HIV is virus na nakukuha mo. So, ano kinabahan to ng AIDS? Kasi nga parang lagi sila nagkakadikit eh. Ang HIV, yun nga, it's the virus. Pumasok siya sa katawan mo, it doesn't necessarily mean na, uy, you're dead. Diretso ka kaagad. So, para siya cancer na may stages 1, 2, 3, 4, ganyan. Ang pagpasok ng HIV, so that's actually, nagsisimula yan sa stage 1, that's nagpo-progress siya. Kasi ang ginagawa ni HIV, pinapahina niya unti-unti yung iyong immune system. Hindi siya bigla-bigla. So, yung kapag stage 4 na, o yung sobrang hina na ng iyong immune system, the late stage ng pagpasok ng HIV, that is AIDS or Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome. Acquired, ibig sabihin, nakuha mo nga siya. Nakuha mo siya sa isang tao na merong HIV. So, hindi siya immaculate conception na paggising mo na lang, may HIV ka. Nakuha mo siya sa isang tao na merong HIV. At yun nga, acquired immune deficiency, yun nga, mahina ang iyong immune system. And syndrome, ang ibig sabihin ng syndrome, dahil nga sobrang hina na ng iyong immune system, marami ng signs and symptoms, marami ng sakit na lumalabas. Kaya late stage na yung pagkakaroon ng pagkakaroon ng AIDS. So basically, actually, to be honest, no one dies because of HIV. They die because of the complications na nararamdaman nila dahil nandoon si HIV sa kanila at mahina yung kanilang immune system. So basically, HIV is the virus. AIDS is the late stage ng pagpasok ng HIV sa katawan natin.
You mentioned kanina there are 3 ways to get it, right? Ano-ano yun?
The 3 ways to get it is first, blood and blood products. Pag nasalinan ka ng dugo na may HIV or organ donation, kaya kailangan may screening sa mga blood tests to ensure na hindi contaminated yung blood. And also, if you're sharing syringes, yung panturok natin, for example, share kayo ng glutathione, ganyan. Or for those people who are injecting drugs, that's one way also of transmission. Yan yung pag-share ng mga blood and blood products. The next one is mother-to-child transmission. So kapag si mommy ay may HIV, pwede niya maipasa sa kanyang baby habang while pregnancy, habang nagbubuntes, habang nanganganak, at habang nagbibigay ng breast milk o gatas ng ina. So, that's the second one. The third one, and the most controversial at hindi natin pinag-uusapan because it's taboo here in the Philippines, unprotected penetrative sex. Lahat ng paraan ng pakikipagtalik na walang proteksyon at penetrative, may pagpasok. So, ibig sabihin, if there's any mode of sexual activity na may penetration, that's one way then to transfer HIV, especially if you are unprotected. So, those are the 3 ways. Blood and blood products, mother-to-child transition, unprotected penetrative sex.
I have a question din sa unprotected penetrative sex. Kasi 'di ba Danvic, kung buntis nga minsan 'di ba pumapalya yung condoms. Is it possible then that even if you're practicing protective sex, may possibility pa rin ba that you may get HIV? Protected naman, lagi ka naman nagko-condom. You use whatever protection that you need. Pero posible pa rin ba? Is there a small chance na you may get it through sexual activity?
Using condoms actually greatly decreases the chance na magkaroon ng HIV by up to 98 to 99%. So bakit nga bang, ano yung 1%? The 1% is the miraculous situations, I would say, na posible so, yan yung posibleng may butas ang condom mo, or you're using an expired condom, or if you are just using condoms. For someone kasi na walang natural lubrication, minsan napupunit, nasisira ang condoms during matinding penetration. So, that's why we advise, especially for men who have sex with men, lagi namin na-advise na kailangan samahan ng water-based lubricant because condoms are made of latex rubber eh. If you use water-based lubricants, hindi siya masisira. Pero pag ginamitan mo other oil-based lubricants or ginamitan mo ng shampoo or ng lotion,
Lotion, yes.
ganyan, it can destroy the condoms. Doon nawawala yung effectivity niya. So, dapat water-based lubricants. Kasi masyadong kiskisan, nakakasira siya ng quality ng condoms. That's why we recommend water-based para kahit magkiskisan na matindi, yung capability na masira si condom, it's very, very, very rare.
I love that we are talking about this now kasi this is educational, to be honest. It's not something to be ikakahiya mo, not something to be embarrassed about. This is part of sex education, and it's very important that people are they understand this, 'di ba? And may tanong din pala ako, tanong ngayon. Kasi 'di ba HIV is of course something to be scared of. Pero ano ba yung dapat ikatakot mo when you, for example, you have this feeling na baka meron ka nito? Can you walk us through ano ba yung pinagdadaanan usually ng mga na-encounter niyong patients, and paano nila, how can they help themselves conquer that fear and take that first step on understanding kung meron ba sila talaga o wala nung HIV?
Siguro if we are talking ngayon, if our time frame is 1980s or 1970s, ang picture ng HIV before is just like what we have in COVID now. We don't know anything yet. Na parang the possibility is you will really die. Pero yun nga, HIV is not a death sentence anymore during this time of 2021. Ang dami ng advancements, especially during the time, kung if you will be asking me, meron ba dapat katakot ang isang person living with HIV? I think, yeah, that's the correct term. Ang tinatawag natin sa isang taong may HIV ay person or people, kapag marami sila, PLHIV, person or people living with HIV. So, if a PLHIV, sinabi niya na, ano pa dapat ikatakot ko? To be honest, wala na. Because there's so many advancements. We have treatment and wala pa siyang gamot. Sadly, kasi virus is a tricky part na hanapan ng gamot. COVID na lang, di ba? Wala pa tayong gamot as of now. Hirap-hirap niyang hanapan ng gamot. But this treatment, para siyang maintenance na gamot. Para ka lang may hypertension or may diabetes. So, ang ginagawa ng treatment na ito, it suppresses HIV sa iyong katawan. So, ibig sabihin, pinapababa niya yung number ng HIV sa katawan para yung immune system mo unti-unting lumakas at para you'll become healthy. And dahil healthy ka, malakas ang immune system, hindi ka kakapitan ng iba't ibang sakit and infections na nakukuha ng isang taong mahina ang immune system. And the most important thing is, if you are on treatment and undetectable, sobrang konti na ng HIV sa iyong katawan, you cannot transmit it to other people or untransmittable. So, ibig sabihin, with treatment at kapag undetectable ka na, kahit mag-sex kayo, hindi mo na maipapasa ang HIV sa isang tao. So that's an advancement that we don't have in the past. And here in the Philippines, napakaswerte natin because treatment is free. It's provided to us for free. So, kung may dapat ikatakot ba ako? Well, technically, you just need to make yourself healthy. Pero lahat yan, problema yan ng mga tao, regardless if you have HIV or wala, 'di ba? So, may dapat ikatakot pa ba ngayon? Wala na. Ang key na lang para malaman mo kung anong dapat na care para sa'yo is of course to have an HIV test. Because that's the only way for you to know if you have HIV. We all have an HIV status. Lahat tayo may HIV status. But sometimes we just don't know what it is. And for us to know how to take care of ourselves further, we need to have an HIV test. If you're HIV negative, you need to know para you'll stay HIV negative. And if you are HIV positive, it's not the end of the world. Kasi meron nga treatment that can make you healthy and can make you live a normal, healthy life. So wala na dapat ikatakot ngayon. It's really that first step for you to have an HIV test. And of course, this is confidential and you'll be assisted and we'll be there every step of the way. We'll just need to have an HIV test of course, once you are ready.
Pero may I ask, why do you always give emphasis to this phrase na this is not a death sentence? Kasi parang laging I've watched, like I said earlier, I've watched your 'di ba, yung mga interviews mo and yung talks mo, and you keep on mentioning that. And I want to take this chance to ask you, bakit laging sinasabi yan for HIV patients or HIV positive na mga na sinabi nyo lang, it's an assurance, this is not death sentence. Why is that?
Before kasi, yun nga, in the 1970s or 1980s, the picture of HIV before talaga is we don't have any treatment yet. There's no way for you to, they don't know how to protect yourself para na makuha siya. So definitely before, especially in the United States, once you have it, namamatay sila. At karamihan na nagkakaroon before is gay men. Kaya in the United States. So, na-stigmatize siya. Sadly, as compared to cancer or any other diseases, HIV is a highly stigmatized disease. Stigmatized meaning ang daming judgment na sasabihin ng mga tao once they knew that you have it. Na,
that and mental health, 'di ba? Bading ka ba? Oo. Siguro nakipag-ano ka sa ibang, siguro nakipag-ano ka sa bading, no? Kaya nagkaroon ka. Kasi usually, of course, I grew up in the 90s. Then, when we heard about people dying and celebrities dying of mga ano ba yun, gossips on namatay yan sa ano yun, sa AIDS daw. Sabing ganun, parang bakit bading ba yan? Di ba may asawa? I mean, the chismis goes on and the assumption goes on. Of course, the dead can no longer tell na hindi ako whatever, di ba? And I didn't get it because I had an intercourse with another gay person. But the thing is, that doesn't matter. The thing is, bakit nyo ginajudge agad yung tao? And for some reason, syempre, while I was growing up, I also had that sort of knowledge in me. So I thought that was right kasi no one was correcting me. But now, it's nice that we have this chance to correct ourselves and actually educate ourselves na hindi pala tama yun. Dahil ito yung tamang information right now. And that's one reason why, Love Yourself PH is also existing. It's for you to educate people, to educate us. Kaming mga mamamayan na hindi namin alam na, there are different ways pala. And ang dami namin hindi alam. You keep on saying that because para naman hindi sila maging ma-depress. They won't be sad and say na this is the end of my life.
It's really more of an assurance na if you have HIV, it's not the end of the world. There are many advancements right now na you can continue to take care of yourself and you live healthy. In fact, kapag nga umiinom ang isang taong may HIV kanyang treatment, study show you could live up to 70, 80, 90 years old. So parang, alam mo yun, it's the same life expectancy here as a normal person here in the Philippines. So that's why we keep on saying HIV is not a death sentence anymore. Kasi we are not in the past. There are so many advancements and, because it's highly stigmatized at wala pa tayong sex education and we consider sex as a taboo here in the Philippines, we really don't talk about it. At we are deceived by this judgment and other stigma na nalaman natin as we grow up. But anything that we learn, we can unlearn, 'di ba? By continuous learning. 'Di ba? So that's why we are having these conversations para ma-ensure mga tao with correct information backed up by science and really, to assure them na kapag nakuha mo to, you will not die. Period.
And can you please correct me, ano ba ang tamang tawag sa patient na may HIV? You said earlier, person living with
HIV.
HIV. Okay, so that's important kasi I think I've read it somewhere na the reason why you call it person living with HIV, it's because they're living a life like a normal person. Kaya lang parang may yun nga, sabi mo, protection, may diabetes, di ba?
Really more of a politically correct term na basically if they have HIV, it doesn't necessarily mean na may sakit sila. Kasi nga, if they are healthy naman, they don't experience any symptoms, they're okay, diba? So they're basically living their life. Before kasi when we don't know the picture, marami nagamit na terms like HIV survivors,
Yes,
HIV.
survivor.
Oo, ano yung pa nagamit na terms before. But basically, the best term na matatawag natin sa ating mga kapatid na may HIV ay PLHIV. Person or people, pag marami sila, PLHIV.
In those years, mula nung nag-start ka with Love Yourself PH, let's talk about the Philippine setting. How significant yung pagtaas ng HIV cases in the Philippines? At nasa na tayo now that we are having this conversation, 2021?
It's very, very significant. Tulad nga nasabi ni Pia Wurtzbach na sumali siya sa Miss Universe 2015. It's a timely and relevant yung kanyang HIV awareness dito sa Pilipinas because sadly we are experiencing a fast and HIV epidemic here in the Philippines. I remember noong 2019 before the pandemic, we are experiencing 35 cases per day. So 35 Filipinos are diagnosed with HIV per day. And actually, comparing noong 2010, we have a 200% increase of HIV cases. And we are the fastest worldwide.
Oh my
Number one.
gosh.
Yes, and it's actually a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest. Because the bad thing is, of course, it's rising. Tumataas siya. And there are many factors kung bakit siya tumataas. But the good side is, and tulad ko kanina, the only way for you to know if you are HIV positive is to have an HIV test. So that means, comparing ng 2010 up to today, marami na tayong na-diagnose. Sa pagtutulungan ng government, other community-based organizations, other community organizations na nag-offer ng HIV testing services, nalalaman nila na ang status nila ay HIV positive. So that's why I always say data is always a double-edged sword. May advantages and disadvantages yan. But what we know is that right now, yung number na yun is still under-diagnosed. Ibig sabihin, a percent of people out there na hindi nila alam na sila ay HIV positive. And they are unaware na possible na ikakalat nila yung virus to other people. Kasi if you have HIV and you have it, for example, ako, nakuha ng HIV today, it will not reflect agad-agad. And I will remain asymptomatic or wala akong simptomas for 2 to 10 years. So, siyang katal.
Tagal.
Yes, there's a possibility na nakakalat mo siya nang hindi mo alam. And, malalaman mo lang siya kapag mahina na ang iyong immune system, na sobrang weak na at nararamdaman mo na yung mga sakit. So, we don't want to go on that path. Na we want to spread the love, not the virus. So, it's very important for us to be aware para matulungan ka. Na yun nga, if you're HIV negative, protect yourself. If you're HIV positive, tuloy lang din ang buhay. So, that's why HIV testing is extremely important.
Danvic, yung HIV testing, can they do that sa, what do you call this, hospitals? Or is it just for special centers gaya ng sa Love Yourself PH? They have to go through your organization so that they can schedule their test?
Well, actually, in any hospital naman, in various hospitals, HIV testing is offered. So, wala namang problema. Private, may fee yan. In Love Yourself, we have our 8 community centers that provides HIV testing for free. Wala kang problemahin. So everything is for free. You just need to set up an appointment, lalo na during this time. Kasi dati kasi, you can just walk in. Pero ngayon kasi, because it's COVID, we need to practice physical distancing, nag-set tayo ng appointment system para hindi nagka-crowd sa centers natin. So you just need to set up an appointment. And that's for free. Wala kang babayaran at all. No hidden charges. Talagang pupunta ka lang. You'll be provided for free. And also, we have a service which we call self-care. Kapag you don't want to go to the centers, kasi nga, concerned ka ngayon, ay, naku, may COVID pa,
Wala kang AIDS, magkaka-COVID ka naman. Parang gano'n.
Siyempre, naiintindihan natin yung iba na parang they still need to want to know their HIV status, especially if, they have anxiety na, shit, ano yung HIV status ko? So that's why we introduced a service which we call self-care. That's a unassisted self-screening service. So meaning, you'll just order a kit, dadalhin namin siya sa'yo, i-deliver sa'yo, tas you'll just need to test yourself. And you'll be guided by many instructional materials. In fact, you'll be guided by our self-care ambassador, Catriona Gray, our Miss Universe 2018. So, ituturo niya sa'yo paano gamitin, paano ma-analyze kung ano yung result. And you'll just, if you need counseling, meron doong volunteers who are on standby na you can talk, and that's entirely online. So, may mga service din kami na ganon. That, there are many ways for you to access HIV testing. And, yung iba, especially sa mga centers namin, it's for free.
Ayan naman pala. If you're listening, if you are one of those who are afraid, but you want to know your status, your HIV status, then you have that. You can I say enjoy? You can take advantage of that privilege or of that offer na hindi ka magbabayad, but at the same time, you get to understand ano ba yung status mo, lalo na't kung kakabaka-baka talaga.
In HIV naman, you not necessarily get it from sex. There are ways nga na makuha mo pa siya. So that's what we don't want to prolong that agony na parang kinakabahan ka. Ano nga bang HIV status ko? Kasi nga, we all have an HIV status and you just need to know kung ano yung status mo so that you could take care of yourself. Para, you can enjoy life regardless of whatever your HIV status is.
Hey, this is Rama and I am inviting you to check out ang pinakabagong financial podcast in town, That Broke Pinay Podcast. Ang financial podcast ng babaeng gastadora at walang kaalam-alam sa pagmamanage ng pera. Follow my hilarious true-to-life stories and adventures toward financial awakening. This is for every Filipino na ayaw umamin na gastador sila. So aaminin ko na. Follow nyo na lang yung show ko, pwede ba yun? That Broke Pinay Podcast, now available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts at soon sa inyong mga suking tindahan. Subscribe now! Din ang HIV for women. Aside from getting it from the mother to kids, possible ba for sexual activity din na magkaroon ng babae? Kasi parang bihira kung naririnig na babae.
Meron actually. In fact, here in the Philippines, if you know Sarah, I forgot the surname. Ito yung mga ginawa movie before noong mga 1990s.
Yung may baby, tama ba?
Yes, opo. Sarah, hindi ko alam kung Sarah Balabagan o Sarah Jane Salazar.
Sarah Jane Salazar, I think.
Oo. Pero, in fact, marami na dito. I think it's around 200 women. Ito yung comparison actually. In countries na mataas ang prevalence or yung dami ng may HIV, napapakalat siya mostly mother-to-child transmission. Yan yung picture sa Africa. So, karamihan sa Africa, regardless if you're male or female, 20% of their population may HIV, napapakalat because of sexual transmission. So, kung tatanong, gaano ba karami may HIV, babae or lalaki? Worldwide, pantay, almost 50%. Because, yun nga, in Africa, in countries kasi, na yun nga, mataas sa population, napapakalat through sexual transmission. Lalo na't may culture doon na yung kanilang sa mga tribo nila kailangang ipa-sex sa kanilang datu, ganyan, sa kanilang head of chieftain, pero yung chieftain HIV positive, may papakalat.
Yeah.
In Africa, mataas talaga ang prevalence. Dito sa Pilipinas, it's a different picture because mataas ang ating incidence. Ang ibig sabihin nun, among those who are at risk na magkaroon ng HIV, doon tumataas. So, sino yung mga at risk? Ang at risk ay men who have sex with men, transgender women, people who inject drugs, regardless if they're male or female, and of course, sex workers. So, yan yung key populations na at risk. So, dyan mataas yung may HIV sa kanila. So, dahil concentrated siya in a population, nagkakaroon ng misconception ngayon na ang HIV para sa mga bakla lang kasi nga lalaki lang. But ibig sabihin ng men who have sex with men, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are just men, gay men. It means na for example, may isang tao na nakipag-sex for lalaki, straight siya, nakipag-sex siya to other men for favors or or a sex work, 'di ba? It happens. At itong tao na nag-i-inject ng drugs, posible lalaki siya, posible may female partner sila. At yung female partner napapasa, nahahawa. At yung female partner napapasa sa kanyang baby kung hindi nila alam. So doon nagkakaroon ng transmission. So that's a picture in the Philippines na mataas ang incidence. It's concentrated on key populations. But in other countries, like in Africa, kalat siya sa general population. Regardless of who you are, kailangan mo na magpa-test. Parang gano'n. In the Philippines picture. So gano'n siya. Hindi siya confined into one sex. We are not yet do sa picture na katulad ng sa Africa na talagang is really in the general population. But here in the Philippines, it's still confined in the key populations. Pero if we don't do anything, kakalat siya in the general population. That's why we need to have this awareness na at your first sex, you know what to do already. Kasi prevention, lagi ko sinasabi, prevention ay hindi mo dapat iasa sa ibang tao.
Yeah.
Laging
so,
dapat
unang self yun para self-defense, di ba? Dapat ikaw yun eh.
Ikaw yun. Na parang, kunwari, girl ka, hindi mo iasa sa lalaki ang condom. Be an empowered woman na meron kang condom.
True.
Diba?
True.
Let's face it, the world will have bullshit na mga lalaki na they don't want to use condoms. Make it a non-negotiable. We will not have sex if wala kang condom.
It's off the table pag wala yan, di ba?
Correct. So, be an empowered woman, be an empowered person, regardless of your sex, na you need to take care of yourself. Because if you know how to take care of yourself, alam mo kung paano mo, iiwasan din ang ibang mga sakit. So, it's really more of empowerment, to be honest.
Do you know kung saan mataas ang cases dyan sa Pilipinas? May gano'n na ba kayong data? Or nakakakuha na kayo? I mean, is it possible now to see, sa Metro, for example lang, Olongapo pala, or, Quezon City, for example, kasi malaki population sa Quezon City, na parang ang daming cases pala doon. Or, surprisingly, sa Makati, parang ang konti ng cases, pero maraming, doon, di ba? Marami kasing, may red light district kasi doon, malapit kasi, nadadaanan ko dati yun pag uwi. I mean, those things, and parang alam nyo ba kung saan ang concentration ngayon? Saan maraming cases ngayon?
Marami talaga in Mega Manila. So that's NCR, it extends to Region 3, which is Pampanga, Tarlac, and to Region 4A, which is Cavite, Laguna, Batangas. Second is Cebu, third is Davao.
Kasi malalaking city din yun eh.
Correct. Kasi ang HIV, according to studies, isa siyang sakit that's nakadikit to industrialization. Meaning, if more people are in a city at stressed sila, dyan sila nagkakaroon ng activities that will alleviate their stress, which includes sex, which includes, meeting other people. But of course, it doesn't close the possibility na meron pa rin ng ibang mga even kanayunan, even yung mga na at least pero kung sa marami, it's in the biggest cities. It is in the biggest cities talaga. In Manila, in Cebu, and in Davao. But, it also dumadami din siya into touristic sites like Baguio.
Yes, definitely.
Bacolod, Puerto Princesa. Yan, dumadami din dyan. It's really in cities, to be honest. Pero yun nga, parang pinakamarami talaga is Mega Manila, Mega Cebu, and Mega Davao.
Kasi 'di ba you mentioned that pwedeng mother to child. may na-meet na kayo na ganong case na meron talaga yung bata because it was passed by the mom doon sa bata. And what happens if ever na ganun nga na ipasa nung mom dun sa baby? I mean, baby yun eh. They're already positive with the virus. Paanong mangyayari doon?
Before Love Yourself, I actually worked in the Department of Health, in the Epidemiology Bureau, at doon ko nakita yung mga cases na ganito. In fact, anong youngest? 0. Ibig sabihin papanganak pa lang.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was about to ask, what's the youngest case that you've had, and bakit sa tingin mo rin it gets younger every year?
Yes. The youngest is 0. So that means that's mother-to-child transmission. But the youngest in sexual transmission, yung nakuha mo through sex, I think that's 13 or 14 years old.
Wow. That's so young. That's very, very young.
Yes. At talagang makikita mo, I met children who are actually living with HIV. And they actually, iba to ngayon, high school na yata. So,
sexually active na sila ganon? 13?
Yes, if that's sexual transmission, yes, 13. Because data from the Department of Health, nakita nila kadalasan ng first sexual encounter, lowest range, ibig sabihin, ito yung pinaka-lowest, is 12 years old. First
oh my
sexual.
God, that is so young. Napaisip tuloy ako, ano maginagawa ko nung 12 years old ako? Grade 6! Naghahanap ako ng school for my high school na kasi susunod, 'di ba? Busy ka sa pag-exam, but now I mean it gets younger. Wala akong masabi.
It's younger kasi sabi nila, it's because of social media kasi hindi ang mga tao through social media nakikita yung mga partners nila. I think it's not social media. It just made sex more accessible. Because it made sex more accessible, and if they're already there at wala kang foundation on how to protect yourself, wala kang sex education at all, your first encounter, posibleng makuha mo na siya. Because sabi ko nga, paano nakuha HIV? In those 3 ways lang, in unprotected penetrative sex. If you know, kunwari, 12 years old ka, sabihin natin 12 years old ka, nakipag-sex ka, and if you already have that foundation of sex education, you know how to protect yourself, hindi mo makukuha ang HIV. So that's why I personally advocate that comprehensive sexual education changes things. It doesn't only change kasi in the Philippines, it's a very taboo country na sex is kabastusan. If we remove that concept, we would be openly talking about issues that are attached to sex. That is, HIV, other sexually transmitted infections, teenage pregnancy, kung saan ito yung mataas here in the Philippines, diba? If we have comprehensive sex education, that of course it's age-adjusted, even starting at the youngest age, it's possible that we can, they would be aware and they'll be protective of themselves. I remember I read a study in, I think this is in a European country, I'm not sure if Denmark or Norway, their sex education actually starts at kindergarten. And in these countries, they discuss that sex is one of, the foundation of sex is actually you need to have, it's an intimate encounter and you need to have love, ganyan. So it's really adjusted. And with those studies of comprehensive sex education, even starting at a younger age, Denmark and Norway actually has the lowest incidence of HIV. They have the lowest incidence of teenage pregnancy. So, we need to break somehow parts of our culture na it's not healthy. And, not really talking about it more openly. And that includes the concept of sex as kabastusan.
Oo, alam mo ako din I always believe that we have to talk about it, and we have to it should be part of the education system, 'di ba? Kasi why don't we talk about it? Itong mga teenagers na to, they're experimenting without caution. Alam mo yon. And then, pag nagkaroon ng problema, andyan na, may bata na, may sakit na, katulad nito, as young as 12 years old. I'm really, nagulat ako when you said that it's as young as 12 years old. But, based on science sa ating mga napag-aralan sa school, yan na yung time na nag-aano na eh. Puberty stage na yan eh. You're very curious. Meron ng body functions and body, whatever na nagde-develop dyan. And children, the kids, they don't know how to talk about it and they don't know how to handle those urges and those changes in their body. So what they do is they go to their friends, they try to experiment things, and bahala na si Batman, problema na later ng parents, 'di ba, or ng guardians. But if katulad nga kung sa mga Nordic countries, if tama yung base ng education ng kids, at least not at least they will be guided accordingly, 'di ba? I hope talaga, no, Danvic, that we come to that year na it parang openly discuss and have it parang i-promote na rin natin na sana yung mga schools they take this as part of the education system.
Actually, yun nga ang sinasabi namin eh. If we will come to a time that love yourself is useless in this society, then we believe that we did a great job. We did a way to spread awareness. We came to a time na HIV is part of a normal conversation. Na it's for those who have it, you are welcomed. You are hindi ka pinandidirihan. If that's the time that we are useless, it's okay with us because at least we did our job.
Totoo. Pero ito, Danvic, you've met a lot. I mean, you've met, hindi kasi a number eh. Marami ka nang na-meet. Marami na kayong na-meet na person living with HIV, di ba? In your opinion, how important is the role of the family or your familial support in helping the patients live a normal life? I ask this because that's the very purpose of why I'm asking you this question, itong HIV 101 na to, because I think in general, hindi nga tayo prepared, hindi kami prepared with the knowledge. So therefore, we cannot give yung support na kailangan ng tao. What if, kasi naisip ko, what if, Danvic, may kaibigan pala akong may HIV or may kamag-anak akong may HIV? Hindi ko alam kung anong gagawin ko. I don't know how to help, but of course, I love the person. But I don't want my fear to overcome yung supposedly I'll be there for this person. So gaano ka-importante ang familial support at sige, I'll follow up the next question later. But gaano ka-importante yung role ng family when it comes to helping the patient live a normal life?
It's actually extremely important. I would understand that, and I have been seeing this in our community centers every day when we witness people na na-diagnose sila na may HIV, tas malalaman na magulang, tas bigla si magulang pupunta sa amin, ganyan, nagtatanong ng mga questions. That's actually one step for them to learn on how we can provide support. Regardless if it's a family or a friend or a significant other, actually the moment na sinabi niya na sa'yo na isa siyang HIV positive, be thankful kasi it means that they trust you completely. Na in the world where HIV is very, very stigmatized, ikaw ang sinabihan niya ng kanyang HIV status. Well, in fact, it is really confidential. Kaya nga kapag may nagsasabi sa akin na gano'n, na dinidisclose nila na sila HIV positive, I always say thank you for the trust. It's really, really, really valuable na pinagkatiwalaan mo ko. And how they can support? That's the next question. Parang, nalaman ko, ano yung tatanong ko? Saan mo nakuha? Ganyan? Itap na natin yon. I'm sure you might be curious, pero tayo muna yon ang itanong mo. Siguro kapag kapag super friends na kayo, pero hindi yun yung tamang tanong, to be honest. But I would understand that you are curious. So, I think one question that you can ask is, how can I help? Diba?
Hindi Danvic yung, ano ba pinagagagawa mo kasi?
Hindi ganon. Wag mo lang ganon yung tanong. Basta kapag dinisclose sa'yo, how can I help? Paano kita matutulungan? Pag tinanong sa'yo, paano mo nga ba siya matutulungan? The first thing na pwede mong itulong is, itanong mo siya kung naka-access na siya ng kanyang treatment. Because accessing treatment is one big step para ma-diminish nga or bumaba yung number ng HIV sa kanyang katawan. Not totally diminish kasi nga it can still remain in your body for the rest of your life. The thing is, pag hindi mo ininom yung treatment mo, pwede siya mag-resurgence. Tataas ulit yun. That's why support is important. Because taking treatment, especially in the first few months, it's not easy. Because as like other medicines, treatment for HIV or what we call antiretroviral drugs, they have side effects. And these side effects sometimes it really depends on each and every person. Pero sometimes for some people, it's really heartbreaking. Yung iba minsan may nasusuka, so definitely sasabihin nila na to change medicine. Pero kadalasan ng mga side effects ng ARVs is nahihilo, literal na antok, na pag inom mo, after few minutes, aantukin ka na. May mga ganon. May iba na minsan nagkakaroon ng rashes, so mga ganon, kailangan dalhin agad sa hospital. So may mga ganong side effects na kailangan bantayan. And at journey partner, ang tinatawag namin, yung mga people who are giving support is really, really important. So that, matingnan sila if they are okay, especially with their medication. And there are some medications kasi that even causes suicidality, mental health issues, depression. And, they need more guidance, especially with taking these medication para, para tuloy-tuloy. Kasi very important na inumin nila to araw-araw. Walang mintes. It should be every day. And if studies show na if you have taken it straight 1 year, most likely you'll take it for the rest of your life. And, they just need that support from someone na, that's the best thing na pwede natin ibigay sa kanila. If someone entrusted you with their status, tanungin mo lang, nakapag-treatment ka na ba? How can I help? Kasi if hindi pa, then you can go to any Love Yourself Center or any treatment hub in the Philippines where you can access treatment for free. Walang bayad at all. So parang at least, you could give that support para ma-ensure na siya ay healthy. And that also includes psychosocial support na, bigyan siya ng support in ways na minsan may naiisip siya na, bakit ko ba ito nakuha? Ang landi-landi ko kasi. I am worthless. Ganyan. That doesn't help in treatment, of course. So,
self-blame, diba?
Correct. So, as treatment journey partner, you can guide that person na kahit may HIV ka, you are not worthless. You can continue to love yourself. You can share it to other people. And if you, in the case na may na-in-love ka ulit in the future, you cannot pass it to other people. Diba? So, that's very important. The support is extremely important.
Yung journey partner, Danvic, do they hire that? Or is it someone from the family?
Anyone can be a journey partner. Kunwari man, may HIV ako, I choose my best friend, or I choose my friend, or I choose my mother, my father, my sisters. Anyone in your circle can be your journey partner. Kapag may mga tanong si journey partner, you can contact us. So if in Love Yourself kasi, if someone is diagnosed, we have life coaches that supports their journey, setting up their goals, and conversing into conversations that can help them. Our life coaches also answer support ng mga journey partners kasi lalo na kapag you don't know anything at all about HIV, tapos isang significant other, isang loved one mo nagkaroon ng HIV, it's understandable na wala kang alam. So that's why we are also connecting to them, letting them ask questions para we can provide guidance then.
Thank you for that. And I love that you mentioned na pagka nag-undergo sila ng treatment, they can live as a normal person. And kasi, of course, I have this question in my head na parang, pagka ba okay na, halimbawa, person living with HIV siya, pero controlled naman yung load, yung viral load niya sa katawan. Ang tanong is, can they have a normal life like, have a partner, have kids?
Short answer is yes, period. It's really, really, really possible. In fact, ang dami ko nakita na people living with HIV na mukhang mas fresh pa sa akin, mas buka pa sa akin, mas, mas mukha pa silang healthy kesa sa akin. Na, wala talaga siya sa itsura. Wala siya sa appearance, wala siya sa ginagawa mo, you really don't know. Can they be employed? Yes. In fact, kapag tinanggal ka because of your HIV status, pwede
That's
mong
not allowed right now. Oh, that's not allowed.
di ba? Sinabi nila, ay, requirement sa trabaho namin na kailangan mo magkaroon ng HIV test. That's not allowed then by law. Companies are not allowed to, to obligate you to disclose your HIV status. So basically, if you are continuously taking your treatment, you can work, you can have a baby, you can love, you can date, you can party, you can drink, you can have sex, anything. Tuloy-tuloy lang.
That's good to know. Pwedeng mabuhay ng normal kahit mayroon kang HIV. Okay, guys? Always, if hindi ba rin kayo convinced, balikan nyo yung umpisa nitong episode na to. Ha? Okay? We have to educate ourselves. Last, before I give my last question, Danvic, do you need to tell your partner, for example, nag-HIV test ka before, sabihin natin na control mo naman and all. In your opinion, or ano ba ang dapat? Kailangan bang sabihin ito sa future partner or sa partner mo that you have HIV or you've gone through HIV test?
That's a very controversial question, to be honest, because I would understand that there are, example, people who are living with HIV na nakikipag-date na sila tas they don't want to disclose because they don't know the reaction of other people na parang pag sinabi ko na may HIV ako, tas it's a highly stigmatized disease na sasabihin nila, so malandi ka in the past? So, judgments come out na. And I understand where they are coming from. But I always say lagi na relationships are always, ang pinakamatinding foundation niyan is not love, it's actually trust.
Trust, yes.
Diba? Na parang, if you don't have that trust to someone, then you have to build it. You have to, bago mo masabi itong mga, I would say, parts of your life na you wanted to share. Of course, by law, you actually, even may contentions nga sa law actually, to be honest, you are obligated. Pero I would understand how they feel. Diba? Na baka nga hiwalayan ako pag hindi ko sinabi. But to be honest, personally, on my take, if that someone is may HIV, kahit hindi niya sabihin sa akin, at he or she, well, not she, I'm gay nga pala, kapag he is undetectable at nag-sex kami, I will not be worried. Mas gusto ko pang makipag-sex sa isang tao na HIV positive and on treatment and is undetectable kaysa sa isang tao na hindi niya alam ang kanyang HIV status. Kasi if he's undetectable at nag-sex kami, I'll be protected. Kasi nga, if it's undetectable, they cannot transmit it to other people. So, there are may mga notions na ganon. But, I would understand how they feel na they don't want to disclose because they don't know the reaction of other people. But, aside from the complexities that's obligated by law, it's very important na, you need to trust your partner. And, from that trust, that's the time that you will know if someone will accept you. In this world, you don't need someone who will complete you. You need someone who will accept you completely.
Amen to that. Yes.
So, despite of your vulnerabilities, despite of your, in fact, having HIV is not a vulnerability, but you need that someone who will accept you completely, regardless of your HIV status. And you will find that person. And I think if you disclose that, that could be your treatment journey partner, diba? So it really I would understand they gauge it, but it should be on the foundation of trust. If you're comfortable in saying it, go. If not, take your time.
Same goes for example, you've been very active, say the past year, for example lang and then the following year, you tested positive. Do you have that responsibility or should you inform the former sexual partners to let them know na, guys, I had gone through HIV testing and I'm positive, and please do the testing just in case. Tama ba yon? Is that more responsible take on how you handle how you handle the situation, or should you not? Or I'm still scared because these can happen, 'di ba? Parang takot pa ako, inaasikaso ko pa yung sarili ko, pero yon, paano yon?
Well, responsibly, of course, it's highly suggested na you inform your previous partners. But if the purpose, kunwari, sinabi nila, tapos it will result into victim blaming.
Yes.
No, wag na lang. Because you don't want to complicate issues, and baka lalo pa silang magkagulo, to burn bridges. We don't want that to happen. But we have to take note na yun nga, it doesn't necessarily mean that you inform someone who pwedeng, of course, highly recommended na inform yung mga previous partners mo so that you could have an HIV test. But it doesn't necessarily mean na nakuha mo sa akin, because if ang HIV kasi, mahirap siyang i-contact trace. Hindi katulad siya ni COVID na parang, I can trace it to these blood people, ganyan-ganyan. In HIV kasi, it's hard to contact trace. It's because, tulad nga sabi ko kanina, you can remain asymptomatic for 2 to 10 years.
Yes, nga pala. Ang haba.
Correct. You'll never know kung ilan ng sex partners mo. Malay mo, kung ikaw yung tao na serial monogamist, ang tawag namin, na parang, okay, you are committed to one partner, kunwari 2 years, nag-break kayo, another partner 3 years, another partner 3 years. So parang marami ka pa rin sex partners, 'di ba? Compared to someone na madalas mag one night stand, you'll never know sino doon sa dami na 'yon, 'di ba? So regardless of the sex partners, the number of sex partners, if it's morally responsible to inform them, actually it's a yes. It's really morally responsible to inform them that you are HIV positive, na I advise you to have an HIV test. But complications, it really depends on you, because you have the power to disclose your status kung sino man yung pinagkakatiwalaan mo. Kasi they cannot get it from you. It's your right to hide your HIV status if you want to. So, you can, if you trust that sex partner at alam mong ang magiging response niya is very amicable, why not go? I'll disclose. But if that partner is, is judgmental, na walang alam sa HIV, then wag na lang muna. Baka siguro in a future conversation, sabihin mo, patas ka rin kaya? Ganon. So, may mga ways. Pero, we don't want complications. Kasi, of course, mas maganda na na i-focus mo muna sa sarili mo, your health, be healthy, para you can take responsibility in other informing other partners. So ikaw muna, para ganun.
So ito, they can also ask these types of questions sa counseling nyo, no, at Love Yourself PH, diba? Because I'm sure there are a lot of questions that they may have in mind while listening to this, and if hindi namin nasagot yan sa crash course ng HIV 101 namin ni Danvic, please don't be shy, huwag kayong mahiya na magtanong at mag-reach out kay Love Yourself PH, and they will be accommodating your questions. Okay? Ito na, last na, Danvic. Napasaba ka sa aking mga questions.
It's okay.
What is your message to our listeners who are afraid to seek help, and your message sa general public?
Well, first and foremost, for those who are afraid to reach out to us, they don't know their HIV status yet, they're very afraid, it's okay. There is a time where you will suddenly realize na you would want to have that HIV, you want to know your HIV status. Whenever you are ready, we are here to to accommodate you, for you to know your status and take care of yourself regardless of your status. Of course, we would want that sooner rather than later, diba? But whenever you're ready, just come to us. And for everyone naman, regardless if you're anxious of your status, or you have a partner, or you have someone who already has HIV, I think it really boils down to respect. Respect for yourself and respect for other people. Na the key for us to love ourselves and to take care of ourselves better is first to dare for us to accept ourselves and accept other people, respect other people. And that's a time when you know who you are. That's a time that you really can take care of yourself. And, we would want to share that concept of taking care and loving of yourself to other people as well. So, it really boils down to respect. If you know someone who is actually sexually active or, who is at risk of getting HIV, be a friend. You can tell them na if you want to have an HIV test, pwede mo siyang samahan. Actually, if you haven't experienced having an HIV test, it's actually a good thing, regardless if may risk ka or wala. Because if you don't have a risk at nagpa-test ka, you can share to other people those who are needing that information. Diba? Kung ano pagdadaanan sa isang HIV testing, you know that it's confidential, you'll be taken care of. You can share that to other people who are in need. So it really boils down to respect for yourself, respect for other people. And if we know how to respect ourselves and other people, we know that this world will be better.
I love that. Thank you, Danvic. Can you please promote your organization and saan nila kayo mahahanap? Saan sila pwedeng mag-message? Saan kayo pwedeng i-follow on social media?
Yes, for our social media accounts, you can just search for Love Yourself PH. So that's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you have any questions, feel free to message us on those social media pages. There are counselors and volunteers on standby who are willing to answer any of your concern, whether that's for HIV testing, HIV treatment, or even care and support. There are many volunteers who are willing to help para, you'll be guided and you can guide someone else. That's the goal naman for us, is to spread this ripples of positive change. Hindi lamang para sa'yo, kundi para rin sa ibang tao. So that's Love Yourself PH, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
All right, be sure to follow them. And once again, Danvic Rosadiño, Director of Operations of Love Yourself PH. And muli, congratulate ko kayo guys. I want to congratulate everyone in your organization. And thank you for again considering the show to be part of this very meaningful cause and celebration. And para naman sa lahat ng nakikinig sa atin, we encourage you not to be afraid, because educating yourself is also self-care. It's self-love. And you are not alone. We have organizations such as Love Yourself PH that can help you. You don't have to do it alone, okay? Help yourself so you can help others too. So once again, this is another episode of Empowered Talks with Ramo Miklat, empowering people one episode at a time. Stay safe, everyone. Until my next episode. Bye!